was a gnome wizard. Rikus was a human rogue. Cortessa was a human cleric. And Vaughn was a Dragonborn fighter.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
And what weapons were they all using?
Okay, let me pull those up for you real quick, because I do actually have all that information. Cortessa was using a Morning Star. Rikus was using a short sword and dagger. Vaughn was using... What was he using on this one? I think he was using a great sword, like your character has.
Ooh.
I believe that's what it was. Let me double check that for you. I don't have that one written down for some reason. Let me see here, because it was nice, big. Actually, no, it was a battle axe.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So he was using a battle axe and also wielding a heavy shield. And Finn was just using an orb. He had an orb in one hand and a tome in the other.
Okay, so the melee things were the battle axe and the Morning Star.
And then there was also the short sword and dagger that Rikus was using.
Yeah, and I don't
The short sword is gripped in the hand that is still attached to his body, by the way.
And okay, what's the Morning Star stats?
The Morning Star stats, that is a two-handed +2 proficiency, 1d10 damage with the mace weapon group.
Okay. And if no one else is going to, I'll just do a perception check to see if there are any other weapons around here.
Go for it.
And that's just 1d20 plus perception,
Your
right?
perception score, that's correct.
d20 plus 2. Nice.
No other weapons around, though.
Damn.
But in your perception, you do notice a ton of paperwork and stuff on the table that was not here prior to your first investigations.
Yeah, I go to the table and see if there's anything interesting.
Okay.
Anyway.
As you kind of rifle through the papers, there's all kinds of different maps of the local area, tons of different X's and stuff, some of which are actually even crossed out on the maps. They're maps of the city. And one of the X's was recently freshly drawn, and it's a map of this area here, and it's drawn where Silver Peaks is. So from that information, you might be able to glean that this was like former bases and stuff they utilized.
Okay.
And based on that, they moved around a lot. Like, they could really not hold down a place stable. And as you're also going through, you also find a contract of a job from the Del Mars.
Okay, I guess I just grab it, roll it up, and then carry it over here and say, look at this, and give it to Thia.
Okay.
I just get this big smile on my face and go, she's done. I'm resisting the urge to run out and just, like, go get it done, because I'm filled with just so much joy and excitement.
So, as you do you read the paper?
I do.
When you read it, it says, it basically sums up a couple of the details of the first job, but it's stuff you guys already know. However, it says details and terms of payment to be held at the ladies. And the paper is torn at the bottom. So it's possible the other half of it is at Shadris Delmar's office.
Anything?
I look to Baron and I go, I get a little bit more sullen, and I look to Baron and I go, we need the other half of this paper. We need to go face her. I want to be the one to face her.
Okay. So do you guys choose to leave this area?
Before we do, was there anything worth looting? I mean, I know maybe some people may want the orb, but
I was
I
about to say,
know I
how
don't want any
thorough
of
do
the
you guys
weapons.
want to go?
I want to be as thorough as I can to get
I just want to
everything
see
we
if
can
there's
off these
anything
fuckers.
here that's worth selling to take with us. But
It is possible that
carry.
the orb that Finn was using might be worth something. You're not sure what, but that orb seemed to have a little bit more kick to it, if you catch my drift.
Okay, I'll take that.
And is there anything that we can take to prove that we killed these fuckers?
I think paperwork with their signature, or not really their signatures, but I mean, like, if you want to, there's... Actually, technically there is. If you look at all their uniforms, they have the rat patches, and theirs are much different from the others, because you have... Because you know from experience that the rat patch is just a basic rat's head in a red shield.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs are all different. Their rat patches are in shields that have silver crosses behind them, except for Rikus. Rikus's is actually the picture of a full rat wielding a dagger in between its teeth.
Right,
So
I
if you
take
want, you can take the patches off their uniforms.
Can we just take the head?
I was
that's
going
what-
to take
I was-
Rikus's head and his patch.
Well, you don't have Rikus's head. You can take
Well,
technically as symbols if you wanted to. You could take Finn's orb pretty easily, although Thia actually did carve him up pretty well. So if you wanted, you could actually take 3 of their heads. If you want to slice Rikus's heads off, you can, but you also have options to take his arm too.
Oh, I'm taking his arm. Sit there.
I take Rikus's head
Okay.
and his patch.
Okay. Alright, so you guys take all that. Loot-wise, what is anybody taking?
Any gold on
all
them?
I'm taking is the piece of paper. That's all I care about is that piece
Okay,
of
so
paper.
you have the paper,
I took the orb.
Root has an arm, Homer has the orb, Torvak has the heads of everybody, I'm guessing?
Just Rikus's, and if
Just
no one else
Rikus's
wants
head.
them, I'll take all the patches.
Okay. Anybody up for those, or are those patches going to be Torvak's?
I'll
I'll take a patch.
I take a patch just in case.
Okay.
You never know. Something might
So I'm
happen.
guessing you're giving each of them one of the patches from a respective lieutenant?
Yeah, I just got dibs on Rikus's patch.
Okay, so Thia is actually given Finn's patch.
Huh?
You can tell it's Finn's because his shield has like a staff behind it,
Okay.
and then you give Root Cortessa's patch. It has it actually has the symbol of her god behind it.
Okay.
So it's the symbol of let's see here, what? It's the symbol of Melora. So she was a follower of the goddess Melora. Melora was the god of the wilderness and the sea, both the wild beast and peaceful forest, the raging whirlpool and the quiet desert. Rangers, hunters, and elves revere her. Sailors make offerings to her before beginning their voyages. So that is the deity, like her holy symbol is on the patch. So
Okay.
Homer, you're in possession, or not Homer. Torvak, you're in possession of the patch of Rikus and the patch of Vaughn.
Okay, and how do you spell Rikus?
Rikus is spelled R. I'll spell it in the chat with it. I'll spell everybody's names in the chat and roll 20.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and where's his weapons worth anything? Rikus's?
Rikus only had they look ornate, but they don't look like there's anything particularly special about them.
By ornate, what does that mean?
They're a little bit decorated. You might be able to get a little bit more, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll take his weapons just to. Yeah. What about his armor too?
His armor, there was nothing special to it. But his armor, if you do wish to take it from him, he is wearing leather.
Just regular leather?
Regular leather.
Okay. And Vaughn looked like he was probably wearing something metal.
He was wearing a heavy shield and plate armor.
Baron?
No, I just, start walking towards the door. I don't care about any of this shit.
Okay.
Okay.
I just have become dead set focused on taking care of Lady Shadra, so
That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, so you guys then walk out of the room, and you're back into the room where Galen/Eris is waiting for you, and he looks back to you, and not a soul came through. I didn't hear what went on in there, but he kind of looks over to you guys and sees the assorted limbs and pieces of weaponry and body parts, and he's gonna go, I'm gonna go with it went decently well.
I pull out his head. What do you think?
We had a decent fight. We need to get going to Shadra's. Come on.
He says, did you find something?
No,
I found
I'm
the
asking
head.
you to come to Lady Shadra's with me because I want to have some tea with her.
Ooh, I
just
like
kinda
tea.
look.
He
What
insistently
do you
asks,
think?
did you find anything? Like any papers or any of the sort?
I repeat myself. Yes, I'm going to Lady Shadra's to get for tea because I didn't find anything. What do you think?
He kind of looks and he says it might not be the worst idea if word travels to her quick, she might be on the run. But it also might help if we have guards to cordon off the city so she couldn't escape, don't you think?
Who's gonna tell her?
I look around to everyone and I go, all of you, find an entrance to an exit of the city. If she gets out, if you find her, she's mine. Do you understand me? She doesn't get in.
No, we
She
go
doesn't
to the
out.
kingdom first with this. No point in taking her on like this. She has too many
I
exits.
want her dead. I just look at him with a fire in my eyes. I want her dead.
I can take care of that for you.
I look to Torvak with fire in my eyes. I want not another word from you.
I just killed like 3 of those people. What's your problem with
Do
me?
you know how many people Shadra has killed?
I keep walking.
2?
I leave the room.
I'm not in the mood to deal with Torvak, so I follow him.
Okay, so are you following Baron?
No, wait, I lied. I look back to Torvak and I go, do you know why I hate all of you? Why I hate working alone? Or why I hate
Because
working with all of you?
Because you're an elf?
You wish that was the reason. There
No,
are
that is the
so
reason.
many reasons. But you know what one of them is? I
'Cause
used to
you're an
work
elf.
with people once. And then Shadra happened. And I lost them. And they were killed because of her. Some of my best friends were killed at her hand. And you want to sit here like this? Fine. You want to be an asshole? Fine. I don't care as long as something happens to Shadra. As long as she has to pay for the crimes she has committed. Come on, all of you, let's go. And
I
walk
just
out.
think that we had a good victory.
I walk
We should
out and I
enjoy
can't
the
hear him.
victory.
Okay, so
I turn
we have-
to.
It's not
Root.
over till we're paid.
I turn to Homer and Root. Like, what's up her butt?
I just keep
Follow her
walking.
out.
I'm out. I'm walking
Yeah,
out.
me too.
Okay, so you guys now at this point are probably up in the bar. And that would be Silver Peaks. We don't need a load screen for that, thankfully.
We do need to articulate spines.
No, we don't.
It said
Okay.
it did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh dear. A lot of sirens outside. Sounds like maybe something bad happened. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to ask the party, are you guys going to back to Fort Saros, or are you guys going to go to Del Mar's head on?
Fort
I
Saros.
look to him and I go, I want to go to Del Mar's. I want to try
I tell her, then go, and I walk out.
I follow Baron.
Okay.
I look to the others to see if anybody will come with me because I know that I cannot take her head on alone.
Galen says he will go, however, he is only there to watch Lookout. He says, clearly she wants me dead. I don't think showing up at her doorstep's the smartest idea for me.
Okay. I look to Root and I look to Torvak and go... Or Torvak, you already walked out, didn't you?
Yeah.
I look to Root and go, what are you doing?
I think it's just a better idea to go to the fort first.
Alright, so at this point, we have the party split into two. Oh, okay.
No,
so
I decided to follow because I know better.
Okay, so we quickly get to Fort Saros, where Orin, Helene, Arthur, and Delana are still in there. They're kind of consulting with each other.
I walk
And the
up and
five of you
kneel
show
down.
up. So you all kind of make your way up, and as you kneel, Orin kind of nods and says, Rise, fair paladin, time is of the essence. What can you tell me?
I stand up and say, indeed, we found proof of, what's her name again? Shadris's, betrayal. And then I just kind of look over at Thia.
Sir, with your permission, I'd like to give her myself. With the help of these folks right here, I'd like to take her in. And I cannot guarantee she will be alive when I bring her in.
That's not for you to decide.
I pull out the dude's head just because.
God damn it.
They're all
I am
visibly shocked.
I am proud of my kill.
Alright, whatever.
I see their look of shock looking at Torvak, and I'll turn around and go, what are you doing? Put that thing away. You are in front of royalty. Have you no manners?
Said.
Do they realize whose head it is, or does
Oh, they know.
Okay, so they
like,
don't just think that it's
whoa.
some random person's head, right?
No, they realize.
Okay.
They know who it is.
Okay,
And the
good.
person who walks. Yeah, the person who walks in, he's like, "Wow, consider me impressed." Now, I did hear somebody said that they had evidence about potential arrests needing to be made.
I do. I'd like to do the arrest. With your permission, I'd like to do the arrest myself.
She
I
asks.
interject and say she should not be doing any arresting. She's probably going to kill her.
He asks to see what proof you have to bear for this crime.
I give him the paper.
He kind of starts looking through it, and he kind of notes it. And while he does, Delana looks over and says, "Well, it's been a long time, hasn't it been, Roland?" Kind of looks over, and he kind of nods sagely, and he says, "Faj, you are dismissed from your post. I'll take things back over here. Head back to Bandus. I'm pretty sure Ilfus is waiting for you again." She kind of nods, and she begins to leave.
As she begins to leave, I walk to her and I go, before you go, I have a question.
She looks up.
When you were last here, I told the king and queen something, and you said, I told you I had gotten where I am all on my own, and you said something along the lines of, no, you haven't. What did you mean by that?
She kind of looks and she says, "It takes two things to get to the position where you are. One can be provided by other means, but the other you do not learn it. It is because it is what you are. You are not taught strong will, bravery, not from where you hail. You are taught something of far more noble pursuit."
I need to know. Are you saying that all of my achievements that I've accomplished are for naught? Since from what I've built myself to become, are you saying all of that is for naught, that I've had help, that I haven't done this myself?
She looks to you and she says, "What was provided to you allowed you to make of yourself whatever you wished. But what you wished to be was what you have become, and what you have become was not given to you. You earned it yourself.
I nod my head because that was all I needed to know. Thank you. And I kind of move back towards my oh god.
She kind of nods and she whispers, "I will see you again."
I look forward to the day. And then I move back to my position next to Baron.
Okay. So he's kind of scrolling through, and he says, yes, I figure before we continue, it might be fitting to introduce myself. I am Roland. I am actually the overseer of this region. Delana was taking over for me at the time, for I had been dealing with some issues that kept me away from the kingdom. Now that those are done, and House Dargrey is back in order, I am reclaiming my post here. So technically, she was doing my job. But what you've got here is some very, very fascinating information, I must say. And I do believe it does warrant, at the very least, a search party for her house. A search warrant, if it will. And because you have this, you technically have the burden of proof that she must dismiss. Therefore, you are welcome to come on the trip. However, you must allow the investigation to proceed by my men. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Lord Oren, Countess Helene, with your permission, I wish to mobilize a group of the city guards to examine the house of the Delmar Adventuring Guild, as it is believed as though Delmar may be considered guilty for conspiracy to commit high treason and murder. Oren nods and says, "With haste, Dargrey. Get to them." So he kind of jumps forward and he says, "Well, you heard the man. Let's go."
I quickly follow behind him.
So the group of you, which includes Eris, by the way, Eris, Arthur, the party, as well as Roland, you all make your way outside of Oren and Helene. You all make your way to Delmar's. And the group of you walk in, and she says, "Well, it is good to see you all, although it looks like some of you have quite the worse for the wear. Is there something I can help you with?"
Speaking of worse for wear,
ladies and
I pull out what's-his-face's head, Rex's head. What's up?
I kind of glare at him, and I look to her and I go, "Well, we need nothing from you anymore. You've done enough for us, thank you."
Roland is inside, and he says,
What do you mean she did enough? She didn't even pay us. Come on.
He says, "Lady Shadris Delmar, by order of Lord Oren, His Highness from Fort Saris, you are considered under investigation by the kingdom, and you are to comply. Resistance is tantamount to confession to your crimes."
I stand at the end of the table just to make sure she can't, like, run or something.
I follow in suit and stand next to the other end to lead her out from behind the table.
I jump on the table and
Start dancing.
no, and I just like take my sword out. Like, hey, you want to go?
She kind of looks and she says, "Well, what possible proof do you have to indemnify me of these so-called heinous crimes?"
I buy back our comment.
Roland produces the paper that was given to him by Thia, and he explains to her, "Well, according to this, you have high conspiracy to have something to do with the Prince Aaron Frisson, and apparently the second half of this documentation is hidden within these areas. Therefore, my men," and he motions to Arthur, "will begin searching your area, and if he finds anything of any value that links to this investigation, you will be coming with me to the city, where you will await and stand trial for high conspiracy of treason and attempted murder. Are we clear, Delmar?" She stands in silence, and Arthur begins to start kind of rifling through the paperwork on the desk, and there's quite a bit of it. There's a lot of business figures and stuff, but After a couple of minutes, he comes across the second half, and he says, I think we found the link here. He walks over and hands the paper to Roll. He begins to read it, and he says, well, this is fascinating. This is apparently the agreement that you forged with one Rikus of the Rats, and it has both your signature here, Shudgers Delmar, and Rikus the Rat. And according to this, your present plan was to actually, take a look here. This would be kidnapping of the royal prince. However, you would be calling for a ransom, which is in your play and your defense, honestly, a smart move. We've heard about your money troubles all over the city. That said, though, what is indemnifying here is that you're demanding a ransom, which the king would, of course, gladly paid. However, according to this, it says, upon receipt of the ransom, you were to kill the people who you were to kill Frisan, you were to kill Eris, the prince, and leave the news to be sent back with the messengers. So we have grand conspiracy here to commit murder against a royal act, an act that is considered punishable by death, but not before you are heard rightfully by the courts.
Must be your lucky day then, huh, Shadris? The
He
courts
looks-
have come to save you.
He looks to you and he says, as the person who provided the burden of proof of this terrible crime and the fact that this crime was indeed proven, should your execution be considered and deemed necessary, you will at least know your executioner. She's on your left side.
I just smiled and waved to her.
I wanted to kill someone else.
He says, however, and he looks back over to you, Thia, let it be clear that her end is only to be granted if it is indeed viewed customary and necessary by the kingdom, and if that act is indeed required, then you, my lady, do have the honors.
Thank you, good sir. I shall make sure that it is a very long and painful death for her. I just smile.
She doesn't really say anything, and he calls for Arthur to go to her side, and she is to be taken away. And he begins to lead her kind of out of the building. And she kind of just looks back at you, and she says, I knew I could never trust you.
I would have been loyal had you not killed my friends. I yelled to her.
I pull out the head and just wave.
Tony, I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of roll would it take for me to jump up on the table and knock the goddamn head out of his hand?
That's going to be an acrobatics roll.
Okay, give me a second. Let me check my acrobatics if you don't mind.
Sure. The two are led out of the building at this point, by the way.
Or
Okay,
just
I
says
would've-
fitting punishment for a debtor.
Yeah, I'll take that roll. 1d20 plus 9, thank you.
Okay.
Against what?
This will be versus your reflex defense. I think she totally got you.
Yeah.
So she leaps up on the table and, like, smacks the head out of your hand, which scatters in a 1d8 direction, and I will allow that roll on Torvak. 1d8, please. So she smacks the hand, and it kind of just flies away, just kind of resting in the middle of the...
I just pick it up on my way out.
No, I was not done with you. Excuse me. I look at him and go, stop waving that thing around like it's a trophy. I get that it's your trophy, but you don't need to wave it at everyone you see. There are bigger, more important things going on in this world besides you.
What does it
I
hurt,
look to
though?
Roland and I go, so what's next?
He says, well, given that she has now been arrested, she will now be entering herself into the kingdom's royal judiciary system, which we will basically be examining all of her documents, which is why I am going to have, when the guard, Hutamf, gets back to the fort, I'm going to ask for him to send for a team to bring a scribe to take care of these records. She will be seen to trial. If she is found guilty by the courts, the punishment is considered death.
Okay.
because it is considered high treason and attempted murder against a royal member of the family.
I'm familiar with the crime, unfortunately.
So he says, if she is indeed found guilty, as you were the person to bring this concern to us and you provided the burden of proof that she could not disprove, you have been hand-selected to be her executioner.
Allow me to say it again, as you've probably gotten the idea, but it would be my pleasure.
He says, I'll have to, by allowing someone such as yourself to be the executioner, however, I am afraid it may ruffle a few feathers at the higher-ups, but allow me to deal with them. That is my position, not yours.
Very much appreciated, sir. I believe would you care to accompany us back to see the lady and the lord, as we need to receive our payment from them?
Willingly. We shall be direct back to Fort Saros.
And
Don't
as
get
I'm
paid.
putting up
Off you
Rikus,
go.
as I'm putting up Rikus's head, I say, "I don't think Thia likes you," Rikus said, and then I do a ventriloquism thing.
Alright, so the group of you advance back to Saros, and
What's
Arthur
up, King
is,
Queen?
Arthur is kind of waiting here, and Eris is kind of just hanging out at the side. And he says, he kind of brings all of you in, and he says, Lord and Liege, their doubts were confirmed accurate. They were going to attempt to kidnap your son, and at which point they would have demanded a ransom from your family. Had you gone through and paid it, they would have accepted the ransom and killed your son in cold blood in front of the people who sent the money. And he says, then she is to be sentenced to death. If she is found guilty of her crimes, sir, yes, and he points to Thia, and she, as the person who brought forth the burden of proof, will be considered the executioner for the crime.
Technically, we brought the burden of proof, but okay.
He kind of cocks an eyebrow and says, well, we will see if the higher-ups allow ever. Technically, if that does fall through, the next executioner is considered to be a court-appointed executioner. He says, well, you know me and my concept of justice. Personally, I believe if someone was about to be wronged, then they should have the opportunity to react that vengeance to them. So, if it pleases the courts, then the second executioner will be your son.
Your lord, your liege, I believe that it may be helpful to use your power to ensure that your son is not the executioner, as I'm sure it would not please you to have a son with that sort of, how do I say this, branding on him.
I am certain that it will not get to that point. I will request a court deemed, as I have other plans for my son. And he looks to Eris, who kind of just looks crestfallen. He says, no, this is different. And he says, my son, you have proven yourself worthy in the fields of danger and of combat. You have proven yourself worthy of becoming an adventurer and to strike out on your own, which is why I am asking you to serve the kingdom. However, I am asking you to do something different for me. As you know... Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as he takes a breath, I go, never mind. Finish what you were saying.
He says, as you know, Shadrach Delmar was not the rightful heir of the Delmar's Adventuring Guild. Should have gone to somebody different. It should have gone to another member of the family, Roisin
Is it
Delmar.
Rikus?
No, Roisin Delmar.
Because I have his
Somebody
head.
you guys have not met. You have Rikus' head, but that's not Roisin Delmar.
Okay, just making sure.
Roisin...
Also, heads don't inherit things.
Wait, you have a head?
Pull out Rikus' head. Yeah! The
Oh.
ventriloquism.
I glare at Torvak and go, have you no manners? Put it away!
That's what she said.
Oh
God,
my...
I wish you had prestidigitation so you
wait.
could make the head move around by yourself.
My lord, if I may, you'll have to excuse me. I'd like to roll to slap Torvak after apologizing to my lord and my liege.
They say granted, and go ahead and roll this.
It's 1d20.
Plus your dex mod.
Thank you. You would think I'd know I've had to slap him so many times, but...
Surprised you don't have a Mac for it yet.
Listen, next...
Oh!
This is the second time I've gotten a crit while slapping you! This is great!
Glowing red print on the side of your face.
Again. Again!
Helene
Might I
kind of
add.
smiles.
Like a badge of honor.
didn't hit me!
I love to slap Dragon's head!
And she slaps his face, but it's like all cold and clammy.
Worth it.
Ew.
Ow!
I can't.
So he goes on and-
I moved away from Torvak.
He goes on and continues to address him. He says, now, Roisin Del Mar has not been seen in this town for months, but she is elsewhere. Thus, I am assigning if you would be so willing to take this. You and Roland are to find her. The last known reports of her existing were actually near Hijaro City. If you go there and find her, convince her to come back to lead the guild back to what it formerly was. If you can succeed, and you bring her back, I will relieve upon you the royal duties, and you may become the vice chair of the Del Mar Adventuring Company, should she wish to inherit this area. He kind of looks and he says, so you're disowning me? And he says, we are not disowning you, but we also know that your kind is of too much talent and skill to be cooped up inside of a castle.
I just
This
kind of
would
stand there
allow
with a
you.
smile on my face.
This would allow you to retain your ties to the kingdom, but this would also allow you to live a free life, free from most restrictions of the kingdom. He kind of nods, and he says, well, Roland is an expert tracker. I don't think it'll take us long to find Roisin. Roland kind of nods, and he says, well, you do have my sword. I think we should probably get started on this, perhaps tomorrow. And Eris kind of nods and says, agreed, we have been through much today. So, tomorrow we shall begin, and we will find her, and we will bring her back. And the Del Mar Adventuring Guild will know what it means to have its good name back. And Orin says, I trust you won't fail me, for you have not failed your parents thus far.
I just kind of I kind of feel sullenish, I guess. Like, I have failed mine. I look to the Lord as he stops and says, I recall asking you to write to my father last time we spoke. Is there any way you've received word from him?
He says, well, how long ago was this writing?
I believe when we first
Wasn't it like-
met,
Okay,
this
so
was
it was like
back when we...
basically
it was
about
back-
a week ago.
A week.
It was
yeah.
just been a while. Yeah, it's been about a while within the game. It says,
Yeah.
I have received word.
Is he well? Is my family well?
He nods, and he says, they are as well as they can be in their age.
I trust my brother's taken on the manor well. He's run things the way my father has, gotten himself a good wife.
He says that your brother is still searching. However, he does believe his present one that he is seeing may indeed be the right one.
I nod and I say, "My lord, I do appreciate you doing that for me. Thank you." And I kind of just step back.
He also, Orin also kind of says, he also said, he hopes that you remain well, and asked me to remind you that distance is a terrible thing.
I look to him and I go, "My lord, I know that you're judging me for not going back to my father, but you must understand that unlike what you both have done for Eris, my leaving home was not something granted to me by my father. Had my father known of my plans, he would have stopped me. I would have been locked away in the castle, and I couldn't take that. I fear going home, because I fear being locked away in that castle again. So please, do not place judgment upon me. I'm just trying to live while I can."
He says, I am not the one who is judging you. I am merely messenger in this instance.
I nod and say, and I have eternal gratitude towards you for doing this.
He then, however, says, however, if I am to judge all of you, the city would see you fit as heroes, and thus as heroes, a just reward should be yours for the taking.
What about me?
He looks at the head, kind of just like, he then looks at Helene, who kind of raises her hand, and the head just bursts into flames.
God damn it!
I'm just standing ovation right now. Standing ovation. I look to Helena and I go, "My liege, eternal gratitude to you as well for that one."
She nods and says, the head gets what the body deserves, the opportunity to burn in hell.
Oh, but damn it.
So he goes on and he nods and explains, now, the rewards we can give you are of unique value, but we cannot provide you with everything. Thus, we are offering you some extended flexibility with what you can get. So, if you guys want to, we can take a short break here while I kind of get all that stuff together, or if you want to, we can just dive into it right now.
What's going to be easier for you? Is it going to be easier if you have a break to kind of put
I should be
order?
good to roll. I've got the books up that I need.
Yeah, I'd prefer to keep going if everyone else does.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's fine.
Okay, awesome. So they go on to explain. They go on and explain. So your rewards are of your own choosing from the following. You are allowed to select money, arms, armor, or potions. Now, each of them encompasses different things. If you guys decide to take money, you will be given money for your character. If you are given arms, you will be given enchantments to your weapon of your choosing. If you armor, you will be receiving a magic enchantment to your present set of armor. Or if you guys take potions, using the wonderful magical table of rolling for stuff, you will receive 3 potions.
When you say enchantments to the weapon, what do you mean?
Yes. So you know how magic items and armor can achieve little enchantments? So can your weapons. So your weapon would gain the ability to get an enchant that it would allow it to do something else.
Are we allowed to know what kind of enchantments they are before we make our choice?
I can give you some ideas for enchantments. So, I mean, technically, in this case, so here's where it gets really kind of tricky. And this is why maybe we needed a minute so I could kind of explain this one.
Mhm.
You can take a look at the enchantments that they have available for weapons. And you could take, and this is in, by the way, if you guys have your handbooks open, it's Player Handbook 1 on page 232. You could take any magic enchantment that is considered, basically any +1 enchantment to your weapon that you wish, with a small exception. And what that exception is, if you wish, you may take an enchantment of a +2. However, this will affect the other rewards you can get because it requires additional to make that enchantment happen. You will reduce your rewards that you can get down from 3 to 2. And additionally, you are bound to taking a specific +2 enhance on that weapon.
Okay, so to make sure I understood, any +1 on page 232, as long as I'm assuming our level is okay with it.
Well, technically, you can take any of them. I'll allow any of them.
Okay.
Because they all go up to level 5, so I don't mind giving a 5 to a 4.
Okay. And if we want to do a 2, though, we can just... Like, what's going on with the... You said we could do like a +2 thing?
So the way that it would work is, do you have the book open right now?
Yeah.
So you see how where it has the magic +2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you guys want to take a +2 enhancement, you can take only that one, because the magic doesn't apply any other specific abilities, because like other ones have all kinds of other crazy abilities and stuff, but that one is just a plain old magic weapon, which just doesn't really do anything additional. It just is the basic enchantment. Whereas
Okay,
the other enhancements are a lot more fancy. So like for instance, for you would have like, for instance, take would be like the Pact Blade or the Light Blade, Pact Blade, because you have light blades.
Yeah.
Or you could take Thundering if you wanted to. So like those have different effects, but they also have the effect that gives with the +1. But if you want to take a +2, you just don't get any special effect to go with it. And then for your armor enhancements, those have already been chosen for you guys specifically. So it is up to you guys on this one. If you want to, I actually think it's probably more fair to do it this way. I would like each of you to roll initiative for me, so I can determine the order of rewards. And it's going to be one person, like, each way.
That's
Actually, not even initiative. Just give me a flat D20. Initiative would be kind of bullshit for rewards.
Oh, I
So
think
just
we
give
should
me
do
flat.
initiative.
So just give me flat